Okay. Um. First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. You just heard the noise campaign. This is because I'm about to make this video, and I'm so thankful that as advanced as this technology is, and is extremely, yesterday was crazy. I don't think I ever felt something knowing that so fraudulent, but felt so real happened to me. Like I don't, I've never like, I think out of my time being manipulated in this fashion, I never thought that this level of like just thought process being manipulated and really thinking like, not even, I knew it was not a real experience that I experienced, but I was like, that feels so real. It's insane, and just really shows how deep this technology has gotten into my level of consciousness to be able to manipulate me to think this way and make me feel like this was felt before. Truly, it's like they put me, it went to another level of manipulation of my conscious that is scary. And of course, perps do what perps are supposed to do. They're supposed to gaslight you to accepting these manipulations. And they're gonna lock in this ways of thinking, and then they're gonna try to continuously get onto it and try to make you accept of it. This is what they do. But I'm so thankful that as a target individual, they do everything possible to rewire reality. Reality is manipulated. That's what they do. That's what they do. And perps stay in character. I think some of these perps truly, to stay in character, truly start making themselves believe that this is reality. They can be the one themselves involved in the constructing of this false thoughts, memory, whatever it is. They can really be the ones involved in the construction of that falsified memory. But then the character they have to stay in to make you accepting of this is crazy. That's why I say that I have no shame, because they might actually be truly involved in the constructing of knowing how falsified it is, but still have to stay in character, because their goal, their task is to get you to accept these manipulations. They know the task. They're just like I call them what they are. They are bottom feeders for these governmental entities. So I want to start off by saying thank you, God, because I could be living like them. Their life is not tough in the sense of what they're doing to me. They truly actually have to minimize themselves. That's the only, they have to minimize themselves, and they have to dedicate their time to it. That's it. What's going to happen to me is going to happen to me regardless, because of the sophistication of this technology. Matter of fact, I think it empowers so many of them who maybe in their regular life don't have so much going on for themselves. Maybe it's the one time where they can truly feel like winners, because there's no failure in regard of what I'm going to experience. They're going to make me experience whatever this technology is designed to make, that can be designing my brain to experience. That is nothing. I just have to accept that reality, and I have. Now, I have to understand that this is what this technology is capable of doing, and I can never be myself anymore. But I will never identify with this. Right? And so I'm so thankful to God that I could be, I could have been them in the sense that I could live any life I want. But I choose the easiest route that can make me feel all kind of empowerment feelings, intoxicating feeling of empowerment of all sorts. And you can see some of them crave that and enjoy that. Right? Some of them, you can see the enjoyment of like, you're not going to fail, because this is the technology that is so overwhelming, like ability to do the things that is so imagining, so amazing. But let me just start off by saying this. I'm thankful that I did not participate the way these people participate. It's such a humiliating life too. They have to be shameless. They have to be shameless. Not shameless in the sense that they're going to do harmful things. That's a different type of shame. This is no self-respect in that too, but I don't care about what kind of morality they have in that. Right? They're trash are going to be trash. But you have to be shameless in the regard of like, you are going to be a clown for the purpose of gaslighting, regardless of how stupid it sounds, regardless of reality that is so obvious. That's the kind of shame I'm talking about. regardless of the cruelty of what they do to others. This is for between them and whatever is going to come to them. I don't care about that. I don't care if they regret or the morality, the sense of morality. I don't care about that anymore. I don't care. You do your nastiness, you'll see how it comes back to you. I don't care about that. I'm shocked. What I'm shocked about is like how they can be able to just be disrespectful to themselves. And so I'm so thankful that I'm going to go through horrible things because I put that in their face every day. You're going to see the reality. I'm going to put that in their face every day. And I was thinking, if I saw this Perps, when I see this Perps and they act this way, with what I have, with the awareness I have that can literally call out something that is right now, you can look it up, you can Google it and find the results of what I'm saying with official, while you are here creating imaginatives. It's so magical. Like, I don't know how they can find the ability to deal with this shamefulness. You talk about an imagination that you create. I'm talking about reality that is just literally official. So official. And you still try to create this. Don't you feel embarrassed for yourself, actually? Forget about the torturing that you're going to make me experience. But don't you feel like... So that's why, let me go back to say thank you, God. Because I could have been me. I guess they get a level of comfort in regard of like, no, I have no shame. In that regard, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything to them. So I have to be thankful. And they're gonna get theirs. This bottom feeders that target individual, those Perps that interact with you, that do these foul things to you directly, are just the bottom feeders. You know, they're not. Some of them, let's just say, life is not even good already for them at this point, right? And some of them, of course, are established individuals that are, you know, but there's people of all sorts. I know the people that are doing that to me right now, for example, are just like individuals that's just started life, most of them. So if you start off like that, man, good luck. Yesterday, I was hearing these Perps tell me how they're gonna frame me, right? And I was like, they were like, oh, this is child rape because it's gonna frame me in that fashion. Can you imagine? And I'm like, no, this is child grooming into framing people. Good luck for the future. You can watch me suffer in every ways. You can watch me struggle in every ways. It's not going to affect you. What's going to happen to you or your child or the future of your child. My point is, you set your children for failure in other ways. And you're a coward of life. Thank you, God. Trash low life, man. This is still a trashiness. It's so amazing. Can you imagine you as a target individual? I don't know if some of you have kids, but imagine you're not a target individual, but you're a Perp, and you are here grooming your child to say this man raped you, to frame you, and be like, no, he needs to pay. Say that this man raped you. Do you understand how disgusting it is? I know they've tried to block it out. I'm saying that out loud. This is not the trashiness of life, my gosh. And they tell me to deflect about about the reality of what it means, what they've done to their children. By doing that, they talk about, oh, they wait for you. Once my child, it frames you, they'll wait for you. They'll do this and that to you. I'm like, Jesus. Okay, they do this to me. I suffer, I scream, and I'll die. What happened to your child? You didn't think that, huh? You think they're going to grow up to be okay? Trashiness. I'm so thankful to God. And this trash are trying to use whatever they can to like, now you pay, yeah, okay. Like I said, imagine I have a child. I'm a Perp. And it's like, oh, we're gonna make this man pay. Hey, my child, come over here. Say that this man raped you. Now you pay. They don't. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. They try to make it sound fierce. Trashiness. Thank you, God. And then they go, oh, they're gonna rape you. I was like, I'd rather get raped. Imagine living that what I just said. No. This trash needs to. That's why when they try to play these Avengers, I want to run to them. It's like, what you gonna make me? You trashy low life? You selling your children? Try to play this game in front of me. I'm not gonna be aggressive, but you understand. You'll see how bottom feeder you truly are. A low life trash. You sold your soul to children. You sold your children to these pedos. Thank you, God. Now that thank God for the fact that I didn't live their life. Let me just introduce myself. I'm a target individual. I'm a TI. What is happening to me is I'm a test subject. The government is using me, like so many others, as a guinea pig to develop this technology. This technology does a lot of things to you. This is the 21st century new weapon system that people are talking about that can attack the mind and the body remotely. What we're experiencing as target individual is insane. What we experience is life is completely altered. This program, which is a program, is developing these weapons and using us as test subject because they are applying this technology onto us. The technology, first of all, when it does physiologically is crazy. It destroys the body. My foot, I can feel like something happening there. My knees, I was looking at myself in the mirror. I've lost so much body fat and muscle that I have stretch mark. And I'm very skinny already. So I'm like, wow, that I'm truly, I'm wasting away. My gastro organs, right, my intestine, all that destroyed it. They destroying it. Digesting is getting problem, and this is all being applied using this 21st century new weapon system. Now the brain, they are truly altering the brain. This program, led by this governmental entity, which we'll talk about, the Department of Defense, has been working on technology that can alter the mind for years, for decades, right? This technology is altering the way you think, your memories, your emotions, your stimulations, all of that is rewired in different ways. Yes, this is very much possible, and they've been working on it since the Korean War, finding ways to alter the mind. Now, earlier I talked about these perps. Perps are these contracted individuals who are supposed to cover up the reality of what this is about. They have no shame. What I mean by no shame is they truly want you to believe that these Avengers is like, now you pay, and it's like clowns for whatever incentive they get out of it. Hired clowns. Shamelessness. You see them in prayer, they try to stay in character. It's immediately when you snap back into it, they can just like, oh shit, he's now subscribing to it. Pure human trash and clown, willing to even have their children participate in ways that's so disgusting. This program, you've heard testimonials from men, women, and children. This is not unique to me. They do the same things systematically. It's funny, I remember in 2020, a bunch of target individuals reached out to the UN, right, to address this like electronic harassment, and they're describing basically the same thing, voice to skull, gaslighting, harassments, and defamation, all kind of things, right? That's very similar. There's a bunch of target individuals from all around the world, from this country, from other countries, from these states to other states. They they use kids as guinea pigs too, on top of women and men. They do horrible things. This program has caused mass shootings. This program used infants as test subjects and do horrible things, harm them. This torture they can make me have can be applied to make you feel sick and destroys your body. They do that to children. I know these facts. I listen to the testimonies every day. These perps with no shame, sometimes want you to be like, no, we avenge. Now, that is the dangerous part. That's when, as target individual, you have to find composure, because you understand that this trash is involved in a program where they torture even the babies. You're fully aware of that. So at this point, you see this person, she's acting this way because she wants to think in this retarded way, to think that they're avenging, this is a group of whatever they want to present themselves as, and they're making you pay. You know that they are causing so much horrible sufferance to men, women, and children. They involved in that program. So at that point, that's when you gotta find calmness, because they stay in character, because it's a way to method act. But there's a reality of what they're part of, that whatever acting they do is not gonna be accepted, because I see you for the shit that you are, you piece of low life. And I am not capable of doing what should be done to you, but somehow, and have. It's not for me to do this. Let your trashiness live this life. That's how I find myself calming myself down. Because they truly want you to forget reality. They want you to be accepting of these manipulations that are very well documented, the capability of how they can rewire your thought process. Target individual, the best thing about this is our testimonials have helped us to understand there's a pattern of things. There's a pattern of how they manipulate us that's super consistent. So they can change, manipulate, but you're like, this is what you guys can do with this technology. You can alter the mind, you can alter the memories, you can alter the feeling. This is what you guys do. And they're doing their best to make you identify with these things. The best part too is like these external factors that even destroy their facade even fucking more. Excuse my language. But they have no shame, because they have to go through it. They have to battle through it. The reality is just is there. Black and is written, well said, like properly mentioned. Yesterday was a weird day, and it was so weird. Even in the level of what they've done to me, everything is weird every day for me. But it was weird to another level because it is so falsified, but it felt so real at the same time. I don't know if they were trying to flex the capability of this technology, but it was crazy. You see this video about Warsaw hip hop I keep bringing up. Listen, one thing I bring in their face all the time is the fact that these governmental entities are the real people in charge of this program, not this fucking clown, these bottom feeders that just contracted to gaslight you and to disorient you into forgetting reality, to deflect. But the entities have truly been working on this technology since the Korean War, right? The 50s, 60s. Not this trash here who will do whatever clownery and theatrics needed. Those entities running this program, the reason why they're able to do these things to my body, the reason why these things is happening to my body, those entities have continuously had issue with child porn. What I mean is, they keep finding child porn on the computers given to them by the DoD, to the point where there's an actual bill called National Defense Network Abuse Act that was introduced in 2019. This bill is supposed to try to limit the amount of child porn being trafficked and accessed using the DoD network, because there was so much of it. In 2018, this DoD network, internet network, was ranked top tier for child porn accessing and trafficking in the United States. They reviewed all the United States internet network. The DoD network child porn amount was surreal. That they were ranked top tier. That the next year, in 2019, we're talking about 2019, not too long ago, 2019, they were introducing this bill called National Defense Network Abuse Act, talking about the Defense Network Abuse Act, because there's child abuse, child porn on this network, so much of it. Yesterday was so weird because these people try to counter reality, right? These perps, first of all, want you to pay. They're painting you as this pedophile, right? They, as in, you're the threat to children, but you have the reality of who's the pedophiles, who's the threat to children is beyond validated. They can be mothers, fathers, whatever they are, as in what they in personal life, but the entities that run this program have shown consistency in regard to these pedophilia issues. They cannot shake that off. They cannot wipe their hands from that. It's never gonna happen. As I say that they do their best to recount to that, but I'm gonna get to that point. So yesterday, they are looking for what they can do to make me, the target individual, be this pedophile when in reality they work for pedophiles. Well, they work for governmental entities that have consistency and consistent patterns of pedophilia that is undeniable. You cannot, that is known, that is so obvious, right? But by the way, as I'm speaking, I can feel myself being manipulated to speak. Some of the words are not my words, but what I'm trying to say is being said. So, yesterday, and the funny part is like they call me their pedophile. It's just magical. You understand this, the shamelessness they have? Yeah, that's why there's a whole bill called National Defense Network Abuse Act. This is just the beginning. Now, I'm not even getting to the deeper things. This is something that you can look up. This bill exists because so much child porn. You understand? Now, let me bring up the level of shamelessness these people have. Worst hip hop, as I bring it up so much, is this website that is very popular, especially in the early 2010s, late 2000s. One of the most popular websites. People will go there every day. We get millions of views per day. It's big website. Some of you know, especially if you're black or in the black urban world, you know this. People call no worst type. Matter of fact, people say I don't want to be on Warstyle Hip Hop because it's known that on Warstyle Hip Hop there will be like compilations of fights and things like that. But very popular. A lot of people watch it. Or used to watch it. I don't know if it's as big as it is. I think it's not as big anymore. But in 2000s, late 2000, early 2010, it was really big, and we all used to go watch the daily videos, right? Watch the videos for the day, and we'll watch this. I mean, even NPR made a piece about it, and that's why I used to just kind of put the reality back in their retarded, in their gaslighting faces. Like they gaslighting me into making me think of other things. But this website, I used to go there every day, especially in like 1920, right? And see what's the video of the day. I click on one of the videos, like this Jamaican woman. The title was something like this: "World is shocked about this video. Jamaican woman doing something with a boy," something like that. I'm like, what? I click on this. It's Worst Hip Hop. Click on it. Worst Hip Hop. Remove the video. Okay, this is the title. I'm like, okay, let me look it up on Google. Boop, boop. Don't see it. Never watched it. Never. Not even a 0.00002 seconds. Watch. That's it. Now you understand what this was about. But I think for me at the time, especially when I'm like my young adulthood, I'm like, okay, as long as it's not like, because it was a woman, I think I was like, okay, whatever, I'm very desensitized. No, they're very insensitive about that. 20-year-old, 19-year-old, we're not like, oh my gosh, this is wrong. But you're like, what? This is crazy. Let me see it. And this Worst Hip Hop. Never watched it. Now, because this trash work for governmental entities that have seen a obvious child porn issues. You hear this person's like, no, that's child porn. It's like, I never watched whatever that was on Worst Hip Hop. So if it's that, never watched it. Ever. So you know what they do? They start making me imagine things. Imagine what this was about. Imagination created by them. And then make me feel guilty of this imagination that was created by them. But not only imagination, give me stimulation. That's what this video called anticipation stimulation. They creating stimulations. Falsified. I'm like, they are so desperate to paint you as this pedophile while they actually are these pedophiles. I'm like, you are making me have these reactions to something I've never even watched. You know how pathetic you are? And they start making the one thought that was the craziest that came in my brain as if it was real. Oh my gosh. They start making me think, oh, this is the kind of things you like to watch. You know, little boys and women. I'm like, what the fuck? Where? Like, and they make me think like this is the kind of things that I would look for. I was like, never. And I was like, are you talking about the worst hip hop video that was not showing? And then I googled it. So it doesn't even make sense. They truly make me think that that's something I would look for. It's like, what? This is pathetic. Where? And make me imagine that. And like, no, but you look for that video. Yeah, the video that was on Worst Hip Hop that was saying the word is shot. Copy, looked it up. Okay, didn't find it. Whoop, moved on. But in my brain, I felt like this was so real. I'm like, Jesus. I couldn't believe it. Like, at that moment, they captured me and put my brain in such a state of, I don't know if it's trance or whatever, but it came in my brain. It felt like so real, like it was a real thought or real memory. And these people start gaslighting. Even today, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know it's so falsified, but why did it come in my brain and felt so like? And I know that means one thing. They are so deep in my brain and to the capability to make me think in these ways that it feels now like, oh my gosh, you feel like I felt like that I had those thoughts. It's crazy. But I know it's like they're taking something that I know is super falsified. I know I don't have that because it's not even feasible. Like, well, I would be like, oh, let me look for no. And that's the thing. It's not even feasible. Now, are you talking about the worst hip hop video that I looked was removed from the website and Googled it? But it doesn't even. It's crazy. They make it sound like that's what I've been looking for. I was looking for that, and this is the videos what? The only thing I was looking for is the video that was on the worst hip hop that was just removed. That the moment I clicked on it, or not the moment that was removed, and then I looked it up on Google because apparently the world was shocked about this. Nothing. I thought it was, because it was a worst hip hop, and worst hip hop talks about how the world is shocked, and this is a very popular website, huh? Very popular. Look it up, not there. Well, okay. They have made this is like a trend of me. Like, look, I'm like, Jesus, it's crazy. And they still try to use this. I was like, you see, that's proven math. Just like, oh my gosh, thank you, God, that I'm able to see things for what they are. And they're using that as if it's validation for them. They validated themselves. Like, what? You're a retard. First of all, you're making me have stimulation on something I never watched, making me imagine something I've never watched, and now you try to make a trend of me like looking up for young or boys or women as if there was something I would like be looking for. You understand how pathetic it is? That came in my brain and felt like it was real. They are truly want to redesign you and make you accepting of it. With no shame. And the perps, oh gosh, in character. I'm like, you are making me imagine this thing. This is imagination. Even this thing of like you try to make me think that I would like, this is something I would search for, like boys and what? You dumbass. And in my brain, the kind of thought process that's happening is like, but hey, you looked up for this video. Yes, this one video from Worst Hip Hop, looked it up on Google, didn't see it. That's that. They start making that like a trend. Like I'm looking at it. I'm looking for like the videos like of boys and women. Instead of me going on my daily or what I would go on Worst Hip Hop on every day. Go on what's the video? Oh, this is what's that? What crazy? Look it up. Oh. Removed it. Let me look it on Google. Boop. That's it. That's the extent of that. It's crazy. By my mind, Jesus. Thought process is manipulated. And I'm like, you have to gaslight me. Sorry. You are right now, and I'm talking to this perp who's frustrated. Who's like, You are literally creating imagination of something I've never watched. You're making me have thought process of things that are illogical. And they want me to feel scared, like, oh, you can be castrated. Because what they do as gaslight, what they do is to deflect. Gaslighting consists of a lot of deflection, right? They try to disorient you. They truly want to accept this distorted reality, right? And gaslighters will act like mentally challenged people, and will deflect every time you put things in perspective in order to confuse you and disorient you. They want you to accept this. And it's just, but I have to say, this technology is super powerful. It is amazing that I can create these thoughts, and really, I've never watched this thing. Let me just say this is what I say. Go on this website that is very popular called Warsaw Hip Hop. At this point, I think I've made multiple videos. I used to go on their website every day, like most people my age, especially my demographic. Watch the video of the day. Oh, what's the video of the day? Okay. Oh, what? The word is shocked. This Jamaican woman. This word. I click on it. Not there. Okay. Copy, paste it on Google. Look it up on Google. Didn't see it. Okay. Woo! Over. In my mind, oh, you look up boys with women. You do this and that. You know, like this is your thing. You look forward to look for these things. I'm like, Jesus. And like mapped. Woo! Thank you, God. Every time I say thank you, God, it's because I recognize what they're doing. And this technology can create this thought process, which they call it map. Now, it was a weird day yesterday. I never felt something so falsified, but felt so like, wow. I just understood the level of manipulation my mind can have at this point. It's crazy. And this purple have no shame. Deflecting. Oh, now deflecting right now. Oh, now you're poor. Does he have to do anything? I'm saying that no, they're deflecting. No shame. Now, let me just bring up reality, because I have to do that every day. You'll see, I'm talking about something I've never watched. They are here creating some trains that non-existent. They made me imagine things that I've never watched. They gave me stimulation I never had. It's just poof. Reality. Like I said, one thing is for sure, is these governmental entities have been working on this technology for decades. They can alter the mind. As this man says, very well, we'll talk about technology that's been worked on for decades. And today, this level of sophistication is the sophistication I'm talking about. Listen to this.
Citizens being controlled by government-sanctioned experiments. Is Cheryl Welch telling the truth, or are her claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Begich.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welch and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is the greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Begich is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction, the ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behavior of human beings. Going back to the Korean War, in fact, in a publication, Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems, being able to not just debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain.
But how?
HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based on Alaska radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Begich says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response, the brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain, and the emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just be about triggering emotions. You can change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts, being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
Can we hear sounds?
And the sophistication is really advanced, and I think the longer you are targeting individual with V2K, I think the more the more capabilities of manipulations are there, and it's the thoughts that become so deep that it feels so real. It's crazy. I was like, this felt so. Thankfully, when I made the video after that happened, I was able to kind of understand the way they kind of play. They are in your conscious and your thought process, that they have the ability to change the way you think in certain ways, taking things, and it's crazy. And then they have this purpose, like, now what we did, we mapped it, now you're just manipulating my thought process to that level to make me imagine these things. And perps, like I said, these perps are this aid, or this, like, not aid, but like, it's like you get manipulated this way with this very sophisticated technology, and perps come in and create this storyline, gaslight you. Oh, we mapped it. I mean, this happened where at one point there's this guy who delivered with everybody around you that is involved. It's like a whole ecosystem. This program is so sophisticated and so architected in a way that a whole ecosystem of a target individual is involved one way or another, or utilized in one way or another to gaslight you. So somebody delivered the package. He's like, oh, she mapped it. And it's funny for me, right? PsyOps is a big deal, right? They create a facade that's apparently, because it's that facade, you're not being manipulated, right? So they like to say she, as if it's a he, it's manipulation. If it's a she, it doesn't matter. She, he, they're all, obviously, what year are we in? So I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's a she or he, I don't care. She or he are manipulating my brain in these nasty ways. And she, because she's a she, does not make it not manipulative. Yeah, it's so retarded. I'm sorry, not using that word, but they want you to start thinking like a child. Like, logically. It's crazy. It's like, what? Like, it's like they try to gaslight like some, like, I'm in my late 30s. You think this is gonna get, like, okay, she is manipulating my brain. She is manipulating my brain, and then he will manipulate my brain, then she will manipulate, like, wait. And so these perps, once they give you have, and I'm having problems speaking, it's gonna get worse, I know. As they force you to have this thought process, this perps task is to agitate you and gaslight you to make you accepting of this distorted, falsified reality. This man says it very well. Oh, Jesus, it's crazy.
Using neural-linguistic programming. You can do that. You can control them using neural-linguistic programming.
When you say them, he's talking about target individuals. As
You can do that. You can control them using neural-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And manipulate people to do
perceive they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define the probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control the brain? Most people don't believe that.
So these deceptive tactics are utilized. These perps, which are called perps, are those civilians that are supposed to gaslight you to accept these things. And they're supposed to make you think that this is anything but these governmental entities have been working on technology since the 50s.
Many of you times man has contributed, and that's just in the RF. Not fields of all kinds. For radio frequency, you can look at the Radio Frequency Dosimetry Handbook, 1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You're going to have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years. The first things that we published.
The new weapon system of the 21st century will be this technology that can attack your body, physiologically, and your mind, using this energy, frequency energies, this electromagnetic energy. That's, for example, in the 60s,
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day.
altering the mind since the 60s. These perps have no shame. And my brain is a battle because this is something, they like to use different terminology. Now we mind, right? When they make you have this manipulation experiences, which is manipulated, right? And they're supposed to make it seem like they're not manipulating you. No, we mind it, we mapped it, we mind it, trash us. As you can hear, they are altering the thought process, rewiring thought process. And this is like a information warfare, kind of like offensive information warfare, where they're supposed to break you down. You know what they try to use? Listen, this is how bad my thought process are being manipulated. In the initial state, because you heard this man say they have to lock in the frequencies that the target has, right? They have to connect with your brain frequencies to start before they can start manipulating you. And once they lock in your brain frequencies, apparently that's when they can manipulate you, because they have locked it in, and they can manipulate whatever device that's locked in with your brain, manipulate that device, and then put it back in your head, because your brain and that device are connected. And once they connected, the manipulation can start. Right? These perps know this better than me. But their job is to confuse you, disorient you. You heard how this man described it. He says, emotions, stimulations, all that is easy. They can do that easy. But thought process is with time, it get more sophisticated. I remember in the initial state of them try to connect to my brain, which I understand that's what they were doing at the time. in order to capture all my frequencies, my brain frequency, to lock it in with this device, whatever it is. I used to, and it happened when my employee put me in this program. I remember working with him, and I'm in this like marketing field, right? And we're doing some analytical things. We're using this platform that can create queries, taking different databases and create queries. It takes a lot of like analytical work, right? And I'm sure, and so this guy was a trainer for that. So he's a very smart guy in regard of like databasing scientist, like data scientist, and it was kind of interesting for me. And so I was learning how to use this tool. I think it was called SAS. I think it's a like a database platform where you can create queries to provide the information that you want, right? So he showed me how to use that, and so we'll create these queries. It's very database related. It's marketing stuff, right? And it takes a lot of not brain power, but a lot of thinking, a lot of problem solving, right? Perfect time to observe your frequencies. And he says something. Oh yeah, it's like we're data mining, because we are data mining. Basically, we're using databases platform to mine the data, right? Now I understand what was also happening during that time of me using my brain in like thinking in this intellectual way, I guess, to problem solve. I'm sure they were taking this opportunity to capture my brain frequencies so I can be locked in with this device. Because like I said, this man said actually, somehow they capture the frequencies and locks into this device. Once it's locked in with this device, it's over. That's when they start manipulating me. For me, that day started on August 19, 2019. Matter of fact, they told me that. They say, we have your brain. It's over. Kill yourself. That's what exactly was said. Because at that point, I was hooked to the device that they can manipulate me to experience whatever they want and make me experience that. And so this trash, because when I was learning how to use this data base platform, he said, oh, we're just data mining, which is what we're doing. It's like, now you see, we're mining. No, you're manipulating my brain. But what you're doing, I guess you're mining for my frequencies so you can connect me with this device to lock me in to the point where now you can manipulate me to have these things. And they use these retards, these childlike people who have no self-respect. And now we're mining. You heard what this man said. I'm sorry for being animated this way, but that's how they sound to me. You hear these perps, and they do that to also deflect. This agitation is supposed to deflect from the reality. But I understand what's happening. And the manipulation are very insane. This man says it very well here.
Ahead of time, Len, would you have gone through as much pain? I mean, you would have been able better to cope early on, right? So we're trying to spread awareness and knowledge of that it's a machine and not your actual family, let's say, berating you. And mind control is so powerful. These weapons and voice to God. I mean, you have no ability to discern, like looking at a computer screen, a television, what goes into your mind. And it's directly stimulating those neurons to think that. So, I mean, it's bypassing your peripheral vision. Some people can see through their third eye, and that's called in psychology the visual workspace. Some people can smell artificial things, taste artificial things. All the senses have been bypassed, like in the movie The Matrix. They're literally plugged in to a synthetic controlled reality that they cannot differentiate from their external bodily senses.
Do you
It's insane what this technology is capable of doing, and how your thought process can be so manipulated. As you said, the way they rewire the brain and the thought process, and
designed to interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG, and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
so you hear about this like neural network where they can capture your neural network, manipulate it, and put it back in your brain. But it's super sophisticated. The sensations, the emotion, but the thought process. Oh my gosh. Whoa, crazy. And with time, I'm telling you, it's getting more deep. Like the thought is, they are deeper in my brain, so they can manipulate me in other ways that are even more harder to differentiate. This stuff from yesterday was too extreme, but still went in my brain in a way that I felt like if it was experienced before. Now I can only imagine things that are not that extreme. Full control. And of course, this Perps, I still want me to accept that, think that I'm not being manipulated. And I think these Perps will try to agitate you, and they're using voice to skull, right? Which is that, as this woman says.
Voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual as well as just.
That is why voice to skull is these people can interact with you. And every time I put things in perspective, like, no, we're mad, Dave, we're trash ass. They just, like this woman said, have control of your thought process, and it's getting worse and more. And the thing is, the thought process, the way they manipulate them, like I said, is becoming more and more ingrained in the way you think, right? They find ways to make you think the way they want you to think by utilizing the way you would think in certain ways, taking some, but like, in a deeper way that makes it feel like you actually thought this way before when you never. It's crazy. And then you have these Perps. Their job is to make you accept it. Like, no, there's something there. Yeah, there's something there. You're right. You are in there. And so this is intense. Now, that was yesterday. Then going back to today is back to the norm in regard of how they make me experience things. I saw this woman, like I said, a woman. I don't even know if it, let me show you. Give me a second, sorry for that. See this woman here, this black woman. this woman, sorry for this woman here, this black woman, and you can see she has a really nice skin. It's like silky, and they make me think of the things they made me experience. There was this little girl, and she's a dark skinned little girl, and you can see her, on her legs, her skin was the same as her, right? It was like, in the sense, like they put lotion. I remember as a kid, especially there's a kid from the original country I'm from. When we were kids, my skin was also like one of the best skin at the time, because my parents used to put lotion on my skin, like typical black family, especially in that country. And so our skin used to be nice and like shiny. They tried to make me think. First of all, they brought up what they make me experience of this kid, and they tried to use this kid's skin to give me some sexual stimulation, the way I would look at a woman with a beautiful skin. To try to create a sexual perception of a child, using this child's skin. And then they're like, no, we mapped it because it's a black little girl. They do this nastiness for me that have been not only unique to me. They just try to make me accepting of this. They do these things here. The first word was pedophilia. Thought of pedophilia.
Sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it.
You hear the last part. This woman, this trans woman, saying that she has to acknowledge that people around her doing whatever they're doing and participating in that. Just like me, this perps. There's nothing unique. Or this woman here.
Hence what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation, so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including threat.
Pedophilia type of torture, if you didn't clearly hear what she says. And remember the voice to skull, what it is?
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time, and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind.
So the thought process, the manipulation of thoughts, the reason why this woman is now in my brain manipulating me to think about this kid, and then make me think of the way they made me think about this kid based on her skin, to try to make me think of her in a sexual way. It's the manipulation they do. That's very perverted, and not perverted in the sense that, oh, man looking at a woman and thinking that, no, toward children. It's so nasty. And then they have this trash like, no, they are. It's so you. Just like this trans woman said, these perps around you partaking in these manipulations that they want you to be subscriptive to. You heard this woman call it the pedophilia type of torture. This is a trend because they do these things too to most target individuals.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa.
Almost all target individuals are forced to see child pornography in their minds. You understand? This is what they do. They have this tendency of altering the mind in these pedophilia ways and then try to make you accepting of it. Now for me, what happens is when they do this pedophilia type of torture and they aim it toward these babies, these little girls, they're like, no, what we do is we're mapping to you when you were a kid. What I'm saying that is, they try to utilize whatever they can to make you acceptive of this pedophilia type of torture you experience today. For example, yesterday, the reason why they're so creating imagination of something I never watched, giving me stimulation, which is what they can do.
This technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal.
The sexual arousal that this technology can make you have. Matter of fact, as I was talking about how they made me experience this thing toward this little girl, they forced me sexual arousals. And this Perps, of course, as Perps are supposed to be doing, supposed to make me think this is not this governmental entities that I'm going to bring up again. They've been working on this technology since the Korean War. They're supposed to make me think that they're just, now you die, it's pay time, you're gonna pay. What they try to do is make it seem like what they've done to me is not manipulating me, like you heard these people are being manipulated with the pedophilia type of torture. But these experiences that I'm having today as an adult man is something they've mapped to me as a child. That's why yesterday, when they were trying to make me think this way, it's because they're trying to validate what they make me experience today. That's why they're falsifying some stories of things I've never watched. These Perps don't have nothing real, and they're creating stuff. And then when it comes to what they try to hold on to, it's me as a child in middle school. Because when I was in middle school, around that age, I did some dumb thing to myself as a kid can impulsively do. So when this black little girl's like, no, we mapped it to you as a kid. No. Even when I was a kid, I didn't experience that. Now you're trying to talk about me as a child and the impulsive act of a child. Because you do the pedophilia type of torture. And you want me to look at you as somebody who's not manipulating people in these pedophilia ways, but just mapping. This full of trash, low-life bottom feeders. Because it's validated they do the pedophilia type of torture. They have this tendency of rewiring their brain in these disgusting ways. And then they have these ways of trying to make you believe this isn't anything but this massive government that's been altering the mind for decades, but we're mapping. This is the tendency of what they like to do when trying to counter or try to present themselves or gaslight you to think that these people are not altering your mind to experience that.
To rebuild it. So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do.
And the massive government they're talking about is a government that's been working on technology that can alter the mind since the 60s and before maybe.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Human mind can be altered. In 1965,
They're trying to counter that. That's, by the way, let me just show you how they're minding and mapping. Let me show you who I'm supposed to think are the mappers and the minders. They are mapping right now. There's a next door neighbor. This trash is, even her voice sounds like she smoked. She sounds like, yeah, she sounds like mad too. It's so disgusting trash. They're supposed to cover up, counter the reality of what this is about. This is what it's about.
basis. As I understand the memorandum from the President, it's for you to determine if current legislation is adequate in protecting individuals and if there's any ongoing experimentation. In reviewing the common rule, it's very obvious that there's a lot of loopholes to informed consent. All of the horrific experiments you've mentioned, Willowbrook, MK Ultra, radiation experiments, mostly were done without informed consent. They were funded by the DoD and intelligence agencies, where I'm not even so sure you would know if there's an IRB, much less if an IRB is looking at informed consent. As a physician, relative to some of what you're hearing today, in the community, we are seeing an alarming rate of complaints of use of electromagnetic weapons, microwave auditory effects, silent sound spectrum, EEG cloning, which has taken the lab out of the laboratory and into the home. Most of these, from the research that we reviewed, can be done remotely. It seems to be more weapons research than medical research. I personally corresponded with upwards of 1,500 victims, all complaining of identical complaints from every state in the nation of being exposed to electromagnetic radiation, non-ionizing radiation for the use of cognitive control or behavior control.
You understand? And these entities now, let's talk about those entities. You heard DARPA working on it, and so DARPA is under the Department of Defense. So is the Department of Defense really running this program? And the Department of Defense, as this woman mentioned here, has been working on this global network for decades. I've been working on this global network that's basically wherever you go in the world, it's going to be there. This thing will happen to you wherever you go. And I've left the country in 2019, right after this thing started happening to me. I left the country. The exact same thing was happening to me in Belgium. They were saying the same things, the stimulations, the thought, everything. Matter of fact, I remember being at the airports somewhere there, and they tell me, in 2019, you're doomed, wherever you go.
Worked for the Defense Department. She worked on the global mapping of that system. And when I told her what I was going through, all she could say was, "You're on your own." Well, I figured that out. If you would please, I urge you to pass this. I realize you can't enforce it, but if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women.
You heard the fact that she said she, right? Her cousin. Listen, these DoD entities, as I started off with this, as yesterday they were trying to make me imagine this video that was never seen by me, never, where thought process were created that never were experienced, but made me think I thought this way before, where stimulations were created that I never experienced, where imagination were used to make me feel guilty, imagination that they created. The reality, when it comes to child porn, that this is a reality.
Exploitation recently endorsed and helped pass key legislation in Congress, the End National Defense and Network Abuse Act. The provision, authored by Senator Brain Schatz, D-High, and co-sponsored by Senator Lisa Murkowski RAK, is included in the annual National Defense Authorization Act and is expected to be signed into law. The End Network Abuse Act would assist the Pentagon in stopping the Department of Defense's DoD illegal use of the government network to view, possess, trade, and even produce child pornography. Millions of child sexual abuse images are being shared across the internet. Over 45 million online photos and videos were reported to tech companies in 2018 alone. The use of child pornography is not limited to the DoD, but data from 2018 revealed the DOTS network ranked 19th out of 2,891 nationwide networks when it came to peer-to-peer trading of child pornography. Child sexual abuse images are flooding the internet and, Almost no one is fighting back. The DoD is unequipped to deal with the level of abuse coming from their own network devices. A 2000
These people, these entities, are overwhelmed by the amount of child porn being downloaded using the DoD network. They are out here working for these governmental entities. I know this information. I know this information too.
Has come under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material called Project Flickr. Some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD-affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device (PED) policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from
Military or otherwise already submit to a gauntlet of daily scrutiny just going in and out of work. Is it fair then to the tens of thousands who are completely innocent to further allow that much more government intrusion into their digital devices or the things that they're dealing with on their computers?
Well, remember that what's being talked about here is not an intrusion into someone's personal device or even their home. This is about saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography. And when you step into an office...
Understand? Yesterday, even right now, they were trying to bring up this video on World Hip Hop that was never seen by me, and try to play off what they made me imagine about this video that I've never watched on World Hip Hop. Now, I'm not saying that this video was not some kind of a video that should not be on this 4-star hip hop, but it was never seen. I've never watched this thing ever. It was on World Star Hip Hop. This guy was like, "Oh, that's child porn." I was like, you know what? I didn't see it, so I don't know. But you know who's watching child porn? You just heard it. This.
Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired, can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check, screening process. It's called an SSBI, single-scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts.
You understand how pathetic and this just no self-respect right now. There's somebody who's deflects, who's like, oh, you raped a child. They talk about the way they're gonna frame it with their children. How pathetic this shit is. They work for pedophiles. They're trying to make me feel guilty on something I've never watched, that I clicked on World Star Hip Hop to watch. World Star Hip Hop, which I love to bring that in their face, was one of the most popular websites in the 2010, 2009, with millions of views. people will go every day to watch the daily video. I'm sure millions have clicked on that, on World Star Hip Hop. While they are working for governmental entities that download so much child porn that these DoD entities are overwhelmed by the amount of child porn being downloaded using the DoD network. Do you understand how pathetic these people are? I'm so thankful. You understand how the level of low-lifeness, of no self-respect. I'm working for governmental entities that's doing so much child porn that apparently it's overwhelming. Doing so much child porn on the DoD network that it's overwhelming, according to what they say. It's just they don't care about it. Of course they can handle that. They just don't care. But according to this article, the amount of child porn downloaded using the DoD network is overwhelming to the point where they don't know what to do. They of course know what to do. We're talking about the Department of Defense. They have the sufficient resources to do all kind of things. They just don't care about it. They don't prioritize it. That's it. But so much of it, for them to say the DoD is overwhelmed with the amount of child porn being downloaded. These people are trying to make me imagine something I never watched. Stimulation, something I never watched, that I never experienced. Thought process created on something that I've never been watched on World Star Hip Hop. This is disturbing. Now, this is how crazy it gets. But I know what this program is about. It's not about reality. They are trying to push me into insanity. But these people are real people. So I'm like, thank you, God. I could have been living life like them. Be involved in a program that does these things to people. Rewire the brain in this pedophilia was proven. That's why they're so desperate to create this thought process on something I never watched. Never. I'm like, imagine if World Star Hip Hop didn't remove that video. I'm like, this is just magical. Thank you, God. What if World Star Hip Hop, this very popular website, didn't remove that? If they can make me experience this with me never watching that, I can only imagine what, oh Jesus. That's why I'm like so thankful. Like now you guys are working on something that, while working for governmental entities too much. I mean, let me just show you how crazy it is.
Sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that two officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that...
Do you understand? These people have no self-respect. But that they need to do whatever they need to do to make me acceptive of what they make me experience today. Because today, when I'm looking at a child, a baby of all age, little girls, little boys, whoever they want, they're gonna force me sexual stimulation, and they want to make me acceptive of this. This is why they're altering my mind. This was the reason why they're altering my memories, my thought process in these ways. Because they want me to make me acceptive of something they manipulate. And like, now there is something. You hear who's talking to about there's something. In every levels, there's something. The tactics of tormenting people, there is something. They do the perfect type of torture. The entities that have architected, created, developed these weapons have issue with pedophilia. There is something. Oh, by the way, these people, what the program they involved in?
Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan. And please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.
There is something. They torture children too. This new weapon system of the 21st century is being developed using test subjects that are children too.
One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister, who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow. I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom and was not able to verbalize anything more due to his language delay. He looked puzzled and bewildered. Even though I had stated that it was time to do more work right before this incident, I quickly just let him play another game, and he quickly returned to his joyful, happy self again. In other sessions, he has also grabbed his crotch and said, ow, while looking up at me.
This is what they do to children. This 21st century new weapon system that this man was talking about can do so much to you, so much harm remotely.
So, yesterday I went to the beach and drank a couple of beers and just sat down there after laying in bed and sobbing for 2 hours because private parts of my body were being burned and my breasts are moved. And it's the trauma from it. It's not being able to cope with the pain and the emotional trauma that comes from someone harming me using, I guess, remote medical technology. It's my best guess. I went with it.
Using this 21st century new weapon system that they're using on her to develop.
Don't really know what to do. I tried to go to, because last night was, I don't know. It's a lot of strange things. I've been doing some research, I guess, what it's called,
You understand what they do and how they harm the human body. And for me, like I said, they like to say she mapped it, as if she, because it's a she, it changed the reality of what this is about. And I'm so thankful that validated that it doesn't matter what gender the perps are. They come in all gender and race.
I want to be shot in the face.
And
it
ages.
was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, she was shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Oh, he's shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is, with the voices go, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's something wrong with them, basically. You know, they call me a retarded bitch and all this here, but
this is horrible. And I've caused people to lose their mind to the point of causing mass shooting. This is one of the mass shooting, but there's many more than that.
Why? Was a mentally unstable individual. This shotgun is the primary murder weapon. On it he etched a number of carvings, including "End to the Torment," "Better Off This Way," and my ELF weapon. Alexis had been hearing voices and believed he was being bombarded by microwaves, something naval authorities knew about.
There are multiple indicators that Alexis held a delusional belief that he was being controlled or influenced by extremely low frequency, or ELF, electromagnetic waves.
And in his computer files, the FBI found this.
A document retrieved from the electronic media stated, quote, "Ultra-low frequency attack is what I've been subject to for the last 3 months. And to be perfectly honest, that is what has driven me to this."
And so on what should have been a routine day, Alexis killed 12 people. Mothers, fathers, sons, daughters. Diane, they never had a chance, and still no answers as to why so many red flags were missed.
As you say, so.
These people are the lowest of the low, the bottom feeders of these governmental entities. And these governmental entities have issues that are so disturbing and foul human being. I think the reason why they're okay employing so many pedophiles is because perhaps they want people who are able to do foul things. Because the developing of this technology is needed. And perhaps they don't want people, they would rather have people who can be, you know, uncertain, disgusting. They can have this disgustingness going on with them. Because you hear children being tortured, women being raped and tortured and burned genitals, causing mass shooting, all these horrible things. But there's an issue here, and an issue that's been ongoing. And it's trash. Men, women, and even children are being, like I said, children are also involved in the being perps, in the implementing, to try to break you down into accepting this manipulation. This guy was like, "Oh, that's abuse." Try to talk about me as a child. You understand? These people try to exaggerate what I did as a kid in order to make me acceptive of what they make me have to do as an adult, the way I'm experiencing things. To the point where they even making me imagine things I never watched. Stimulation I was thinking I never watched, because they're trying to counter the reality that they are the pedophiles. They're the one rewiring the brain in these pedophilia ways, and they want you to be accepting of this. And they harm children. They abuse children using this 21st century weapon system that you heard. This 3-year-old that was grabbing his genitals because he was in pain. It's because of this.
Cables with external fields of all kinds for radio frequency. You can see dosimetry produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ, so you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You're going to have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years. The first things that we published, Angels Don't Play This Harp, with Gene Manning, dealt with some of this, and then later, systems of the 21st century. Degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You're going to have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century.
And this weapon system is being utilized on us for the purpose of developing it, inclusive of children that are harmed in this fashion, in other fashions. So there's more testimonials. So that's what I want to finish up this video with, and I want to be thankful to God as my body is being destroyed by this 21st century weapon system that he's talking about. I know there'll be a time where I will not be able to function. They are rotting my organs using this technology. I think my eyes can tell you a little bit of what's happening with my kidney, perhaps my liver, or my pancreas. I'm obviously not doing well, but I know what this is about. I would die in hell than having to live life like these perps who are contracted to implement these tactics for the purpose of developing this technology. And this is also implemented toward children. I mean, harming children using this technology and rewiring the brain to make sense of this psychological manipulation, cognitive manipulations. To all my target individuals, stay strong.